All right, so the iPhone 17 Pro Max, it's been out for a good 6 months now. And after all that time, something really interesting has started to happen. The things people were raving about at launch, well, now they're the source of complaints. And some of the features everyone seemed to hate are now the things people absolutely love.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to cover how this thing has actually held up in the real world, why a design people called ugly is now a total fan favorite, and the huge leap in performance and cooling. Then, of course, we'll get into the super important stuff, battery and camera, before we tackle the elephant in the room, the software. And we'll wrap it all up with a final verdict. First up, durability. I know a lot of you like to rock your phones without a case, so the big question is, how well does the iPhone 17 Pro Max actually survive the bumps and scrapes of daily life?
So, one of the huge talking points this year was the switch from titanium back to aluminum. After 6 months of being tossed on tables, sliding in and out of pockets, and maybe a few accidental drops, let's see how that frame has really held up. The results are kind of surprising.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how much your color choice matters. The silver model, it's basically a tank. It shows almost no wear at all. But if you got one of the colored models, like the blue or the orange, you're probably seeing some of that finish wear off around the camera and on the bottom edge just from normal use. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even though it might show some cosmetic scuffs, this phone is surprisingly tough. This little nick you see here, that's from a 3-foot drop, straight onto a rock. And that's it. No cracks on the screen, no shattered back. It's a massive improvement. So yeah, the aluminum frame is way tougher than you'd think. So here's the bottom line. The glass on a screen is incredibly scratch-resistant, way better than the iPhone 16 or even the 15 Pro Max. But the aluminum frame is softer than titanium, which means it's definitely going to dent more easily if you drop it just right. Think of it like a car with a super strong windshield, but a bumper that's a bit on the softer side. Okay, let's move on to the design. This was pretty controversial when it first came out, but fast forward 6 months, and the story has completely flipped. So how did a design that so many people called ugly end up becoming a crowd favorite? And I am not exaggerating here. The initial reaction online was, well, it was harsh. A lot of people really didn't like the new two-tone symmetrical look. I'll admit I was a little skeptical myself at first glance, and many just saw it as a step backward. But then a funny thing happened. People started actually using it, and they fell in love with it. Once you get it in your hands, you realize how modern and symmetrical it feels. But more importantly, it's just so comfortable to hold. Those softer, curved edges make it way less sharp than the older models, but it still feels totally premium. All right, let's get into the engine of this thing. I mean, we all know it's powerful, but the biggest leap this year isn't something you see, it's something you feel. And that's the massive, massive improvement in how it handles heat. And the hero behind all this is the vapor chamber. This is a total game changer. It's basically like having a tiny air conditioning unit inside your phone. Instead of all the heat getting stuck in one spot, this system spreads it all out, which lets the phone stay way, way cooler for longer. And this number right here shows you just what that cooling can do. The phone consistently hits these insane benchmark scores. We're talking almost 10,000. Just to put that into perspective, that's nearly double the score of the last model. And it can do that because it can keep running at full speed without having to slow down from overheating. This chart really shows you the difference in the real world. On one side, you've got the iPhone 17 Pro Max just chilling at around 35 degrees Celsius while working hard. And on the other, you have a model without a vapor chamber, like the iPhone Air, which gets incredibly hot. I mean, seriously hot. So the performance is fantastic. We know that. But what about the stuff you rely on every single minute of every day? Let's talk about the two things that I know you care about the most: battery life and, of course, the camera. So looking at the long-term health, the battery seems to be aging at a pretty normal rate. You can expect it to drop to 99% after about 150 charge cycles, which means it should hit that 80% mark right around 1,000 cycles. So no surprises there. This battery is built to last. And for daily use, this is an all-day phone, without a doubt. I mean, look at this. This is a typical day. Almost 4 hours of screen time, and there's still over a third of the battery left. The iPhone 16 Pro Max would have been completely dead by this point. It's a huge improvement. Now, let's talk about the camera. I've been shooting all my videos on this phone for the past 6 months, and let me tell you, it is an absolute beast. Seriously. Other phones might be better for certain photos, but for video creators, this is the one. It is so reliable, you just hit record and you trust it to deliver amazing footage that honestly is often hard to tell apart from a real cinema camera. Okay, so we've gushed about the incredible hardware, but this is where we hit a pretty big wall. The one area where this amazing device is being seriously let down is the software.
Yeah, despite all that power, the day-to-day experience is just choppy. It's full of these persistent, annoying stutters. It's like having a Ferrari but being stuck in rush hour traffic. You see it when you unlock the phone, when you swipe between apps, when you're just scrolling, and it's not the hardware, it's iOS 26. And it's a constant frustration.
And you can really see this gap between what was promised and what we got with Apple Intelligence. We were promised this revolutionary new Siri, and 6 months later, it's still completely missing in action. What we have are some neat writing tools and other small features, but it's nothing close to the main event we were all waiting for.
So, after living with this phone for half a year, what's the final verdict? How do you weigh these amazing hardware wins against the very real software problems? Really, the story of this phone has two very different parts. The hardware is a massive success. It's tough, it's comfortable, and the performance is best in class. But it feels like it's being held back by software that just isn't finished yet. So my take is this. If you're someone who values incredible hardware above all else, and you can live with some software quirks for now, then yeah, I would absolutely recommend this phone.
And that really leaves us with a final question, doesn't it? The iPhone 17 Pro Max is a phenomenal piece of hardware. It really is. But its legacy, its ultimate success, is going to depend on Apple delivering the smooth, polished software experience that this incredible hardware truly deserves.